Can you imagine being at the end of your life? You're in a hospital and you need to speak to someone before you die. You want to know what you need to do. Maybe you've never known much about the church. You just want to know, how do I get right with God? And they send in Jason Callahan, atheist chaplain. Here we go again, guys. This is insane. This article that just dropped from CNN. So atheist chaplains are forging a new path in a changing world. Okay, let's take a look. Jason Callahan spends much of his days at the bedsides of people nearing the end of life. Oh, okay, so here's what's crazy. Jason Callahan is clearly going to be our chaplain today, and he's an atheist. And it's one thing to call yourself a chaplain and help people in day-to-day life experiences, but this guy is clearly helping people at end of life. Do you realize the implications of that? Can you imagine being at the end of your life? You're in a hospital and you need to speak to someone before you die. You want to know what you need to do. Maybe you've never known much about the church. You just want to know, how do I get right with God? And they send in Jason Callahan, atheist chaplain. What kind of answers is he going to give you? Seriously, what's he going to tell you? Is he going to give you any hope? No? Is he going to give you any truth? I doubt it. Maybe some nice platitudes, something nice like, live every day as though it's your last, because today really is. And I don't know. It boggles my mind. And just so we know what a chaplain is, let me look that up really quickly. I can't pull it up on the screen just because I'm just learning this, but according to christianchaplains.org, a chaplain is a member of the clergy, a religious ministry professional in a legal sense. A chaplain is ordained and licensed to work outside the church in a secular setting. So a chaplain is a Christian, right? A Christian who works in a secular setting, not an atheist in a secular setting. Clearly, this is a problem when you have these people encroaching in on Christian roles. They have historically been Christian roles, and I believe since the 4th century AD, this is when they first established chaplains. But let's continue with the article. A chaplain in the palliative care unit of a hospital cancer center, Callahan supports patients and their loved ones as they confront some of the life's most challenging crises. How will I cope with the pain and suffering that accompanies this advanced illness? Did I do right by my dying family member? Did I experience and accomplish everything I wanted to? Most importantly, what will happen after I die? How is an atheist going to answer this? They don't believe in anything. They believe that nothing happens after you die. So what are you going to tell this person? You're going to tell him you're about to enter eternal darkness, nothingness. Maybe some people want that. I don't know. At least they think they won't have the pain. But the problem is that's not the truth. Okay? This is a very dangerous thing to allow these types of people to take these roles in society. End-of-life care. This is tragic to me. All right, Callahan isn't afraid of digging into the deep stuff. Okay. But he obviously doesn't believe it. In fact, he runs toward it. Okay. Sometimes, though, he'll encounter patients who brush him off when they learn he's a chaplain. They aren't believers, they tell him, and aren't particularly in the mood for a sermon. Okay, so right off the bat here, we're looking at a situation which I would call a straw man argument, or it's not even an argument, but really the underlying notion of this article is that chaplains, they're just going to deliver a sermon. They're just going to preach to you and tell you what you have to believe, right? Okay, let's continue. He isn't there to preach or pray. He reassures them his job is to be there for them as a human being, to listen and to comfort them through whatever they're struggling with. Okay, so the underlying assumption here is that if you're a Christian chaplain, that you're just going to preach and pray. You're not going to listen to them. You're not going to comfort them as a human being. And this is completely wrong, okay? But what they're doing here is they're trying to use all the good of Christianity, right? Everything that's good about it. the dignity of humanity, the, we're made in the image of God, and that you had purpose in this life. All that, they want to keep that, but let's get rid of the sustainer of that. Let's get rid of God. We're not going to preach to you. We're not going to tell you the truth about your condition. You've got seconds, minutes to live. We're not going to tell you that, and we're not going to even pray for you. No, we're going to get rid of all that and comfort you. But honestly, what is all that? When you get rid of the Christianity of it, you're no longer a chaplain. You're just a counselor. Why don't they just call him a counselor? All right, let's continue. In these conversations with patients who are wary of religion, Callahan slips in another detail. He's an atheist himself. Oh, thank you so much. He's an atheist. He's just like me. Yeah, well, it's not going to help you much. Callahan is one of a growing number of openly atheist chaplains working in institutions around the country. This is crazy. Why are they flooding these spaces that are traditionally for Christian roles? Though the term atheist chaplain might sound like an oxymoron, because it is, he doesn't see a contradiction between his beliefs and the work of tending to the human spirit. I would really like to know what his beliefs are, because an atheist, by definition, is someone who doesn't believe in God, who doesn't believe in the metaphysical, right? Who doesn't believe in the afterlife, which would involve spirit. But so there's a contradiction here. He says he doesn't see a contradiction between his beliefs as an atheist and the work of tending to the human spirit. Well, you can't have spirit without God. I'm sorry, you just can't. Being an atheist, non-believer, unaffiliated, whatever you want to call yourself, lends itself really well to chaplaincy, because we naturally don't project our own stuff on people. Yes, everybody projects their worldview onto everybody. This atheist is projecting his worldview. The crazy thing is, though, he says that being unaffiliated, a non-believer, and an atheist lends itself really well to being a chaplaincy, to being a chaplain. No, it doesn't. If you stick to the definition of a chaplain, it is somebody who is of the church, who's going to bring the wisdom and knowledge of the church to those in the secular world. This person is not a chaplain. I'm sorry. Callahan's role reflects a broader trend in society. About 28% of adults in the U.S. belong to a group known as religious nuns, meaning they identify as atheist, agnostics, or nothing in particular, according to Pew Research Center. There is one thing right about that, okay? These 28% of adults, they are religious. People automatically assume that if you don't affiliate with a religion, that you're not religious. No, everybody has a religion. Everybody worships something. Everybody puts something at the very top. And that could be themselves. That could be God. That could be a vice of some sort. That could be, it could be anything. But we're all religious. We were all made to glorify God. The problem with that is that people have corrupted what it is to be human, and they've turned the other way. They've turned from God and they've gone to find their own gods. And so that's very true about this sentence here. But let's continue. But even as the population moves away from religion, the desire for spirituality and connectedness remains. It's very true. We're designed to connect with God. And when people turn away from God, they have a God-sized hole in their heart and they want to fill it. The problem is they can't fill it, and they're going to try. You can try your whole life and you won't. Pew's survey indicates about half of nuns describe themselves as spiritual or say spirituality is important to them. It's such an empty statement to say that I'm spiritual but not religious. It doesn't mean anything. What it means is, yeah, you want to connect. You want to connect with God. That deep part inside of you wants to connect with God. But what people don't want is they don't want an authority figure to tell them how to live their lives. They want to create a God of their own making. And that's why when they say, I'm spiritual but not religious. So basically, whatever sounds good in their mind or in their heart, that's what they're going to go after. And this idea is growing, and I don't know where people get it from. Fundamental questions that faith has long answered, from why we're here and what it means to live a meaningful life, are just as urgent and relevant for the non-religious. Very true. Everybody needs to answer those questions. Everybody. especially as humanity grapples with existential threats and technological advances that are reshaping our world in ways that are still unclear. I mean, that's very true. Things are changing. They are moving quickly. I mean, it feels like since 2020, things have been moving very quickly in ways that we've never seen before, right? And we are moving towards something, right? Things are getting crazy, but these existential threats are nothing new, right? People die every day. Thousands of people die all around the world every day. We are all under an existential threat. And that's why it is so important that we have people, Christian men and women with wisdom in places where people that are lost can find the truth. We cannot let these atheists into our spaces and give these people the wrong information, lead them astray. This is just sad. Chaplains like Callahan are helping people make sense of them. How can you make sense of existential threats when you don't even have a worldview that believes in the afterlife, that believes in God? How are you going to calm people's fears when you just tell them, I don't know, hold on for the ride because we all die in the end? It just doesn't make sense to me. Spiritual care without religion. Okay. Again, another oxymoron. Callahan is a chaplain at the Virginia Commonwealth University Massey Cancer Center. Don't go there. Don't send your loved ones there, okay? Though this wasn't necessarily a profession he imagined for himself. Obviously, the one good that can come out of this, obviously, it's scary that he's in this position, is that maybe he will meet the right person and come to the knowledge of Jesus Christ, but it sounds like he's pretty dug in at this point. Despite attending a Presbyterian church growing up, Callahan says religion never appealed to him. He realized early on that he didn't believe in a higher power, and he felt the messaging around faith was too soft for a self-described street dude and boxer like him. He completely misunderstands the gospel. He completely misunderstands faith. God sent his only son to die on the cross. I mean, the most difficult thing you can imagine. There's nothing soft about that. I don't even know what to say to that. What do you guys think? Honestly, like, when you read that, when you see that, what does that mean? That it's too soft for a street dude? Like, what is it? Like, that doesn't even sound like he's addressing the intellectual arguments of Christianity. Rather, he just doesn't like the aesthetic of it or something. I don't know. Still, when he found himself in an advertising career that ultimately left him unfulfilled, he turned to his old pastor for guidance. Okay, that's good. When she... Okay. Here's the problem. I mean, this is one of the problems, right? His pastor is a woman. And we know the Bible is clear about women in ministering roles over men. It's not right, right? The Bible says a woman, here, I just pulled this up, a woman should learn in quietness and full submission. I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man. She must be silent. Now, women can be pastors over other women, right? They can minister them on even children. But this Jason Callahan is clearly a grown man, and he's turning to a woman. And let's see what she says. When she told him he had a call to ministry. Now, she knows he's an atheist, and she's telling him that he still has a call to ministry. Clearly misguided information. He was puzzled, and he should have been puzzled by the suggestion. What exactly did a call to ministry mean for an avowed atheist? Callahan kept an open mind. The pastor advised that he obtained a master's of divinity degree to open up a number of career paths, leading him to enroll in seminary. I don't understand that. I do not understand why somebody who claims to be an atheist would go this far and study the scriptures and everything. Obviously, they were searching, but it didn't. Obviously, today he's still an atheist. I'm not going to finish this article, but what I will say is that it's crazy that this godless world wants to essentially remove God, the sustainer of all that's good, and try to uphold these values, but they're doing so in an empty way, where they're holding up these objective truths under a faulty platform of subjective reality, where there's not really any truth, where there's some sort of mystical spiritual sense that we all are connected or something like that. It's mushy. Everybody has their own idea when they don't root their truth and their beliefs in the Word of God, because that's where we're going to find our truth. What do you guys think? Was this interesting? Would you like me to, cover more articles? But tell me what your thoughts are. Should we be worried? And, what would happen if you were in a hospital and you were finding yourself close to the end of life and they send in Jason Callahan? I mean, what would you do? Thanks for watching, guys. Take care and God bless.